Hello everyone, this is South Carolina Crime and History. Today's case is that of a man whose crimes would ultimately get him the death sentence. David Clayton Hill was born on June 9, 1964, in Colorado. His name became infamous in South Carolina after the 1994 murder of Georgetown's deputy police chief, Spencer Guerry, a crime that would lead to Hill's execution a decade later. On March 7, 1994, Spencer Guerry, the 37-year-old deputy police chief of Georgetown on the South Carolina coast, stopped the car David Hill was driving. The car pulled over in the parking lot of a car wash. Hill was driving a silver Honda Prelude with expired Colorado license plates. He did not have a valid driver's license and had marijuana in the car. Officer Guerry took Hill's Colorado identification card and car registration and called the information in to the dispatcher. As he was walking back to Hill's car, Hill shot him once through the cheek. Despite being shot in the face, Officer Guerry managed to radio for help, providing crucial details for other responding officers. He was rushed to the hospital, but died of his wounds several days later. When police recovered Officer Guerry's uniform, Hill's identification card and registration were found in the officer's shirt pocket, unmistakable evidence of their encounter. After the shooting, Hill attempted to manufacture and destroy evidence to cover up his crime. Eventually, he called the police himself and was arrested. At trial, Hill offered a defense that someone had been hiding in his back seat and shot Officer Guerry. But this claim was contradicted by strong evidence and eyewitness testimony. Several witnesses stated that Hill was the only person in the Honda. The prosecution argued persuasively that Hill shot Officer Guerry in order to avoid arrest for the marijuana possession and driving without a valid license. In 1995, Hill was convicted of murder and sentenced to death in South Carolina State Court. Hill's legal team pursued multiple appeals, challenging his conviction and sentence on grounds such as jury selection procedures and alleged trial errors. The South Carolina Supreme Court upheld both the conviction and the death sentence in 1998. His case eventually reached the U.S. Supreme Court. In October 2004, the court, in a narrow 5-4 decision, declined to halt the execution. David Clayton Hill was executed by lethal injection on October 31, 2004, at the Broad River Correctional Institution in Columbia, South Carolina. Officer Guerry's murder shocked the Georgetown community. It underscored the lethal risks officers face, even during seemingly routine traffic stops. Guerry's professionalism and courage stood out. Despite being shot in the face, he still managed to radio for help, offering his colleagues the vital information they needed to identify his killer. Hill's execution also became part of broader debates about the death penalty in America. For supporters, it was an example of why the ultimate punishment should remain available, particularly for the killing of law enforcement officers. For opponents, it raised questions about the finality of capital punishment, the fairness of the appeals process, and the risk of inadequate defense strategies.